Oh my god, no matter what I say in this review, the comments are just gonna be like, I hate Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson ruined everything, hashtag not my Luke. I don't want to jump into this. Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name's EJ Marino and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night. We're diving into a brand new review today. Oh boy, I'm sure this conversation is going to go great. Yes, we're talking about The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I'm going to start this review by addressing something up front. I am not the biggest Star Wars fan. I enjoy the movies for the most part. I like some of them. I dislike some of them. It's not my kind of thing. So if you're going into a review wanting like, oh, well, the Force was used accurately, or, wow, all of these references are, the lightsaber wasn't the right color, not the type of review. I'm here to review it as a movie. I'm going to look at The Rise of Skywalker with no fanboy attachment and just go, how does this work in a movie? How does this work in a trilogy? Because that's the only way I could review this movie. I like half-ass like the franchise. Like I said, I like Kylo because it's Adam Driver and Yoda is cool. I'm not a big fan. So again, make sure you guys know real quick up front, this is not a fanboy review, just a movie review. Now with all of that out of the way, let's actually dive into my feelings of The Rise of Skywalker, and oh boy, I have some thoughts. When I walked out of this movie, I really didn't feel anything. I was kind of like, oh, that was fine, it was just a typical Star Wars movie. But the more I've sat on it, the more I've had to process. In the meantime, I've actually seen the movie like Cats, and that like exploded my brain. So in that explosion, I came to the conclusion of, I don't really like this movie. I don't think it works as a movie. Now, for Star Wars fans, I have critic friends who saw this movie with me and loved it. They said it was a great send-up for the Star Wars community. Now, I have some friends who were there as well who aren't big Star Wars people and went, that didn't work as a movie itself, and that's where my problem is. This is not a good movie, but it's a good Star Wars movie. Same thing like many people feel about The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi is a good movie on its own. Tight script, in and out action, it's fine. It presents itself in one little contained story. But it's not a good Star Wars movie. At least that's what Star Wars fans tell me. So this movie, I don't think works as a cinematic experience. It actually reminds me a lot of those George Lucas movies with that crazy, clunky dialogue. There's characters that I feel have like never spoken to each other ever, or spoken to a human. I'm like, do you know what communication is? Like, nothing is as bad as like the sand dialogue that like Anakin did in that second movie, but nothing is like good or realistic or felt organic. Everything was exposition, cliched line, exposition. It felt like they crammed in a bunch of like Star Wars info into a computer, and that computer shot out a script and they filmed that script, and I'm like, oh, you can tell. All of that bad dialogue I don't like is wrapped up in a story that I think is like 8 movies in one movie. It's almost like J.J. Abrams was trying to make a trilogy, but left in the middle of the trilogy, came back and tried to pick up the pieces. Oh wait, that's what really happened, and you can feel it. It feels like J.J. was just like, oh, so my trilogy was still happening. The one I didn't leave a plan for, that's still happening, right? Oh, it's not. Well, let's keep going on that track. And I'm like, bro, you're doing stuff that you need to explain in another movie or flesh it out. This movie is so jam-packed. Like I said, a lot of characters are just saying exposition after exposition, no real dialogue, and when they do, it's cliched lines. Like, oh, it just blows my mind that something like this doesn't work in a grander sense. I was just really upset I thought for fans that this was the conclusion of like the Skywalker saga was this movie, but I guess the second hour that's all just fan service will really make up for that, because the whole first half, and I'm like, well, what's happening? Why are we here? Why are these characters doing this? Oh, there's a crazy plot twist moment. We're just gonna brush over that. This movie has a bad script, but hurt with a even worse edit. This movie is sloppy, disjointed, way too fast, and then at times way too slow. Like slow and fast in the wrong spots. They would slow down moments that did not need to be slowed down, but a crazy like death of a character or some massive information is given to a like iconic character and nothing, like it just breezes over and we're just to a new scene. This movie needed another edit. It needed this script needed red pen, get rid of some stuff, and then the edit needed to fix all of that as well. What a messy film, but hey, there's like references to older movies and some cameos, so that's good, I guess. There are things this movie does get right. I think the visuals are so strong. Maybe not as strong as some of the other entries with like iconic moments, but there's some great looks. As much as this feels like a George Lucas prequel, it doesn't look like a George Lucas prequel. It has such a beautiful like gloss over it. Everything looks good, polished, rendered out. As much as the movie needed more time to like cook, I don't think the visual effects needed. I think the visual effects are on point. Same thing with the overall like fights as well. Everything is shot well. The choreography of the fights, the way they look, the action scenes, the battle scenes, everything action wise that isn't people like speaking or having like human interaction works for me in this movie, which is so typical for like Star Wars films where a lot of like the human moments are lost through the shuffle for some big action explosion moments. And that's what really hurts this movie. Is I think for the end of a conclusion, let's take Endgame for an example. I think Endgame balances crazy action with heart like warming moments. This movie tries to do heartwarming moments, but it just feels so hollow. It feels so fake. It feels like a lot of the filmmakers are like, let's make people like feel better. If they're angry at us, I don't want them to be angry anymore. Or if they're not Star Wars fans, they don't matter anyway. So this movie just really feels just like a discombobulated mess. And I'm just really confused that this might do well, it might not do well. What is Star Wars anymore? I can't wait for these to go on a break so we could all just take a breather from this universe. Look at that. I went to go talk about positives and ended up on a negative. I just don't understand why this movie made me feel this way. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I'm a film fan. So it just upsets me to see a movie that's this big, that's this bold, that's predicted to like make this much money and just be so hollow. It feels like we're back to those like late 2010s where we just made blockbusters to make a lot of money without a soul or personality behind it. This year has had so many movies, blockbusters and more indie films with souls and personalities. This movie just feels so void of that. But hey, if you like a whole hour of like references to other movies, that's gonna work for you. And that's kind of my overall feeling of this, is like, it seems like Star Wars fans or the people who make the movies just want to be like rewarded for being fans. They just want, you remember this reference? Oh, member berries, like from South Park? That's what this movie feels like, is member berries, the movie. And I can't believe JJ did that twice. Oh my god. At least this doesn't feel like a ripoff of another movie. But hey, I would have taken a ripoff of Return of the Jedi. It's better than this movie. Alright guys, I am done talking about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. I am done talking about Star Wars in general. I'm only reviewing this because I had some people on my channel really want to talk about this, and I had the awesome privilege of seeing this movie. I did a more in-depth review over at Flickering Myth. I'll link it up here somewhere. You guys can go check that out. But for overall, I'm going to finish this off by saying, I don't like the movie, but if you're a Star Wars fan, you might love it. So take that as you may. The beauty of Star Wars movies, reviews don't matter. The fan base has already made up their feelings even before they've seen a movie. The beauty of these movies. Alright guys, I am done talking about Star Wars. What did you guys think of this review? What did you guys think of The Rise of Skywalker? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I make videos like this every single week. And give me a thumbs up because YouTube takes those way too seriously. Alright guys, let's talk about Skywalker. Or actually, you know what? We don't even have to. Let's talk about something more fun in the comments below.